Welcome to the Beats and Balance podcast, where rhythm, resistance, and rest fuel creative survival and collective healing.
All right, so on this episode of Beats and Balance podcast, I'm joined by Dr. Kim D. Harris, affectionately known as Dr. Kimme, a multidisciplinary artist, educator, and cultural storyteller whose work lives at the intersection of identity, resilience, and liberation. As an Afro-Indigenous woman, Dr. Kimme uses her creative practice to explore the lived experiences of women of color, navigating the promises and pressures of so-called American dream. Through visual art, folk tradition, and a deep commitment to authenticity, she offers spaces of healing that are both personal and collective. In this conversation, we talk about burnout, mental health, and the role of the arts as a healing modality, especially for Black and Brown women, holding it all together in systems that really hold them. We also dive into the wisdom of African and Indigenous traditions, the power of rest, and what it means to define success on our own terms. This episode is a soft but radical invitation to return to yourself and to remember that healing is art and art is resistance. I'm very happy to have you with us here, Dr. Kimme. Thank you so much. And feel free to introduce yourself and tell us about your work.
Yes, thank you so much, Tenor, for having me here. I feel so honored. Yes, I am an educator, multidisciplinary artist, all what you shared, a certified yoga instructor. And my goal right now, I'm a 25-year breast cancer survivor.
Oh, congratulations. That's deep.
Thank you. And my goal right now is to connect with others, basically planting seeds of radical self-love. I do that through yoga, art, and storytelling. Sometimes people term it as the Yaz effect, but I find it to be three areas where individuals can really tap into their inner self. And I've had people in my session sometimes cry. Usually we end in a self-hug, but the whole goal is just to plant seeds of radical self-love and self-worth.
That's beautiful. Is this something that came about after your journey with cancer? Was this born through that, or was it something that you've been doing kind of your whole life?
Well, I have to say that it's something that I've been doing on and off throughout my whole life. When I lived in Jamaica for 10 years, I was the curator of the National Museum West in Montego Bay at Sam Sharp Square. But where I live, my village, I call it my village, Liti, it's in country. My daughter said we're living off the grid. So we were up on this hill, but I offered a 2-week free summer camp, use my own money. Would I do that again? No. But would I do it again? Maybe yes, because of the joy of seeing the faces. We had a book bag drive. I trained some people to come over from America to spend time with us and to help me do the camp. Even in that mode, still trying to connect to others. And yes, it was camp, it was self-love, but we gave them plant-based foods. We talked about life skills. We had Dr. Amir Whitaker from California come all the way from there to Jamaica to share his sentiment and the importance of the drum. Djembe drum and how it's been stripped from us as a people. So I'm constantly trying to connect with others, but currently I'm in South Florida and just basically picking up the torch, different environment, different vibe. So, different opportunities. So I'm just really have my feet to the ground and just running.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think all those things that you talked about, it's wild because that's kind of what Beats and Balance is built on. This was also my wife just recently passed from cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But like this project was kind of built out of that. So that's why when you mentioned being a cancer survivor, I was like, oh, it's interesting how something so traumatic can also lead you to a path that is the opposite of that and can be something that's so healing. And it's in line with all the kind of same things that we talk about and that we're passionate about, which is like inner child healing and focusing on joy and preventative medicine in terms of like eating right and making sure that you're living in balance and things like that. So I think all these things are super, super important for the world. How do you deal with your own your own like work-life balance? How do you respond to burnout in your life and then are able to still kind of do this work for other people?
Wow, that question there. Well, I am currently should I say, growing through burnout. I teach art from my comeback to America. It's been like going on 3 years in February. I teach art to elementary school children, kindergarten through fifth. I love doing that. It's my passion and it's my purpose. But the part that I don't enjoy and what causes the burnout is dealing with admin. That whole systemic structure of basically, for me, I look at it as control and conquest. It violates a lot of times my personal sovereignty, which I'm really big on that. I'm just going to put it out there. Sometimes people say, oh, don't tell your age. I'm 63 years old and I am an advocate for personal sovereignty at this point.
Yeah.
It's so important, especially when addressing burnout. So for me, that work balance, with what I do, technically we are to start back to work July 31st. I'm preparing my mind for that. But at the same time, over the summer, I have nurtured so many things that align with my passion and my purpose that right now, any opportunities that come up is a priority. So, yes, I have my job. I'm not going to abandon it. But if an opportunity comes up where I can escape, to Nora, trust me, I'm going to seize that opportunity.
I feel that.
So my balance basically is my art. I look forward to getting off work, to come home to embrace, take a deep dive into any projects that I have going on, which I have a show coming up in September. September 28th, 2025, at Island Space Caribbean Museum here in Broward County, Florida. The name of it is A Stitch in Time.
Oh, I like that.
An Afro-Futuristic tribute to breast cancer warriors.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. And I was hesitant at first, but I'll be honest, Tenor, I had a different focus with it at the beginning. And I was awoken one night. Seriously, I would just think I'm crazy, but I seriously was awoken one night. And I feel like it was spirit telling me that your approach right now is boring. And I remember sitting up in the bed, and then it just came to me where they whispered to me, let me give that honor. I've always been into sci-fi. From a little girl, my dad would push this thing about there's aliens. There's people from other planets. How do you know that I'm not one? And I was like, Daddy, stop. But I used to tell him, no matter what, I still love you. But in growing, watching different things, I'm passionate about sci-fi, Octavia Butler, I'm there. So this show is, yes, breast cancer warriors. It's not a lot of lecture. I have relocated or refound my oncologist after 25 years. He's not with the hospital that all of this healing took place. But I tell you, give thanks for Google. Things are just a Google away. So it's not about lecturing and sharing data. I've been telling people as I share the flyer, it's not about data, statistics, the latest research. It is an art exhibition with live entertainment. I have singers. I have spoken word artists. I have live drumming and dancers. It's a celebration. But the theme, everyone has to wear black, white, pink, and yellow. Okay. Or a combination thereof. And the artwork has to be of those same colors, pink, black, white, and yellow. So I'm going for a vibe here, curating this show. So I'm really excited about it because it is something, again, that is my passion. Will I have to take off days for work? Probably so.
Definitely worth it.
That's a shame, but no, it is what it is. So the other thing that I have coming up couldn't sleep. I don't know why, Tenor, lately I sleep, but sometimes I don't sleep. My pattern of sleep is off.
Mm-hmm.
Like this morning, I didn't go to bed till 3:30 and I was back up 7:10, like
I feel
ready.
that.
So, but I'm busy doing my art. And the other show that I have coming up is with Twist Out Cancer and Adrian Arsh Center in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They having a gala in September 25th, a few days before my show. And they paired several of us who've had a bout with cancer, either as a survivor or a caregiver. And they pair
Mm-hmm.
us with what they call an inspiration. We connect with them, hear their story, really vibe with them. Like, I love my inspiration.
Yeah.
And we create an art piece. The art piece is then showed at this gala in Miami at Adrian Arsh Center. And they have funders, bidders that will come. I hope that mine gets picked because it's little perks that come with that. So I'm doing a
Mm-hmm.
self-portrait of my inspiration based off of her story that she shared with me after several meetings. She's in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. I'm in Florida.
Wow.
So, but other than that, I just plant seeds going around doing community outreach via yoga, art, and storytelling. It's such a healing, I hear it so much, Tenor, when people are either engaged in the sessions or afterwards. Oh my God, I needed this.
Mm-hmm.
I put on a little ambient music, depending on my vibe. I might put on some reggae.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really create an experience. I share my experience as far as healing
Mm-hmm.
and how yoga, art, and storytelling has been that go-to modality for me.
Yeah, I mean, your energy radiates through the screen, so I could feel that. I could feel your classes could be very transformational. I'm floored at how much you do. You stay super busy. But it makes sense because all the work that you do seems pretty aligned with your healing practices. So it's like it's not so much that you're working, it's like you're healing and working simultaneously.
It's an ongoing process. I used to think at one point, oh, you could reach a plateau like, ta-da! No. At my age, I realized it's an ongoing process. Why? Because life has its moments of lifing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you're constantly evolving, putting your mindset. That's what it boils down to, your mindset and your choices, putting it to the test, putting that as cards on the table, reevaluating, removing,
Mm-hmm.
reestablishing. So it's ongoing.
No, I like that. I like to look at life as like a wave. There's like ups and downs, and you kind of just have to be ready to ride where you're at and
That's
just not
right.
sink in, which can be difficult. There's so much being thrown at you with everything in the world. Because it's not just like surviving your own personal issues, but then you also have to survive life and society and everything else that's going on out there, and then still provide for your family and, have a job and
Got
make
it.
money and all these other things. So many kudos to you for keeping that all going and then
Thank
still
you.
having the time to give back to others. It's pretty amazing. Let's talk about your Afro-Indigenous identity because that's something that you talk about. How has that informed your creative and professional life and approach?
For the most part, it has informed my life and my approach based off of the symbols, the character traits of my tribe, which is Nanticoke. We're located in Millsboro, Delaware.
Hmm.
It's not a reservation. The land is the land that they've always been. Growing up, I used to resist that awareness, when my
Hmm.
dad would want to take us to Delaware for powwows.
Oh, wow.
And I used to actually get an attitude with him like, oh, what, Daddy, every year, like you keep asking, I don't want to go. And it's when I had my children, because every year he always asked.
Hmm.
And it's until I had my children that, again, that shift of mindset. And I started going, realizing this is who a part of who I am. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my father's name is Nawat, left-handed one, and Daddy, God rest his soul, sending you love and light. I give thanks that he always planted the seed and he always kept our membership up. So our card is active, myself and my sister
Mm-hmm.
and my children. But it has informed me in a way, especially for how the world is going on. Having something to feel connected to, having
Mm-hmm.
something to go home to, especially spiritually, you know. And even though I know there are many of my people's traditions that I am not aware of because of how I was brought up, again, lifing regarding my parents,
Mm-hmm.
but I've always sought out information, tribal meetings. Even though I'm in Florida, they're so far away, just to try to like kind of maintain that awareness. But it has informed me that one day, I don't know when, but I'm going to go and visit because the last time I was there, I was young with my grandmother, my dad, and that experience is just like awesome. Have you ever gone to a powwow?
Yeah, yeah, I have. My family actually is Black and Indigenous from upstate New York.
Okay.
And so that was something that was also like I was brought to powwows when I was younger. So like I'm hearing these stories. I'm like, wow, yeah, there's not a lot of people that have these same kind of experiences. And I also was kind of like, not that I didn't want to go any. I was dragged to powwows, to African American museums, like the Blacks and Wax Museum in Baltimore as a kid. Like I didn't want to go to any type of
Oh, I
museums.
went
It wasn't.
there.
Yeah, so like my family was very big on the you're gonna learn your history. And I'm very appreciative to that to this day. But as a kid, you're just like, I wanna be outside with my friends.
Thank you.
But yeah, like it is something that you take for granted and it's something that a lot of people don't know and appreciate. And I'm listening to you talk about that, and I'm hearing you talk about, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, well, now that makes sense. You have that like shaman connection where you're getting those downloads from spirit at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's when your art is coming through. And I have that same kind of sleep schedule where it's like I'll be in bed at 9, I'm up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, back in bed again at 6, up at 7.
Yeah.
But like I wake up, I get these ideas, and then I kind of just go with it. And I think that when you're living in alignment with your ancestors and your spirit and your culture, as opposed to like this capitalist structure that says like you need to have like a 9 to 5 and that's the structure of life and that's the only way it can be. It kind of allows you to tap into other things and other kind of wavelengths and other ideas that I think you miss when you're just like in the grind and kind of like in the rat race and you're just focused on what they tell you should be focused on. So I think it's really amazing to hear that like so many other people that I've had these conversations with are kind of like also having these experiences. And it just speaks to me that there is this like
This
kind of like we're all
force.
kind of tapped in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this energy, and everything is energy.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. I tell my students that, and some people don't get it though. I realize that as well. But no, it's all good.
Yeah, no, I think more and more people I think it's becoming more and more mainstream, more and more people are waking up to and talking about it. Like my grandmother, my great grandmother, she was if you see a picture of her as a kid, she looks like Pocahontas, like long, long braids. But she was raised Pentecostal, and so I was raised Pentecostal with her. And so like some of these terms she would think of as like witchcraft. But when I think about the things that she used to do, like she was always the person that everybody called when they were gonna pass, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, she's getting called to go to the hospital. And nobody in the town is like passing unless she's there. And I'm like, that was her like spiritual gift. Like she was definitely the person that was like walking people between realms. She would never talk about it in that way because everything was
Right.
seen through this lens of like Pentecostal, whatever, whatever. But like, I'm like, this lady had definite like spiritual gifts.
Spirit
And
have
it
its
makes
way of
sense.
showing up because my grandmother, she wouldn't like to be to say it, but when I think of her as an individual, she was a hoodoo woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You go to her with certain like can't sleep. I've always had that issue. And I remember a time my grandmother told me, clean my room good, especially get in the corners, get the little camphor and put a glass bowl of water underneath of my bed.
Mm-hmm.
I never questioned her. And it wasn't until I was like 14 when I realized I thought everybody went to the botanica with their grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
But she was a church woman. She was a mother of the church. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel that again because of the societal pressures and she was born 1918. So coming
Mm-hmm.
from that era, it was safe for her to be who she was under the umbrella of the church.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, that
really
was my
believe
grandmother
that.
too.
What an honor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. I went to Morocco. I did my study abroad there, and I was staying with a family, in this old village. And I
Wow.
got sick while I was there, and one of the things that they had me do was they cut up onion and put it in my socks. And I was like, "Oh, my nana, my nana does this back home." So it's like all these same kind of like tools, connections to like the culture that we don't even realize that was passed down. Like there's these people on this continent all the way over here, and they're practicing Muslim. They're not even thinking about any of this other stuff, but they have these old
Traditions,
traditions that are passed on
rituals.
from forever long ago, and we all have the same kind of connection. They actually came to America and met my grandmother, and it was like the connection between them was so wild. They didn't speak the same language, but there was just like this like
Energy.
instant
Energy.
energy. Yeah. So I believe strongly in all of that. Like I think that as human beings, we are all deeply connected in ways that we don't realize. But I think if you tap in and you spend time, even just sitting with yourself, you kind of can like get back to that sense of like where we all started. So I think it's beautiful to see you doing that work.
Yeah. I just wanted to add right quick. My grandmother,
Hmm.
my grandmother, she's Nana as well.
Oh, I love that. Yep.
Yes,
And she was my nana was a mother. Mother Harry is what they called her in the church. She was a mother too of the church.
Mother Carter. That's a
Yep.
lesson. Yeah. I
See,
love it.
love that too. All right, so let me see. Let's switch up to talking about your art and why that's a powerful tool for addressing not only burnout, but your mental well-being, your own healing, and then using it as a tool to help other women of color.
When people come to my workshops, I share with them at the beginning before they start. It is not, okay, about the outcome. It is about the process, the act, the gesture of creating. That's where that connection, that energy, that synergy happens. In planting that seed with others until they experience it, it's like they don't realize that they enjoy this. And it's not just with painting. I work with clay.
Mm.
I'm a mixed media textile folk artist. So I work with fabric and found objects. Yes, yes, I'm that artist. If you throwing something in the trash, it drives my children crazy. But if you throwing something in the trash and it look like I can artify it, yeah, I'll be going home with it.
I love that.
It's just, I don't know, I'm just driven that way. So a lot of cowrie shells, mirrors,
Amazing.
sticks, depending on what it is and my mood at that time when I see it. And again, I just hear these whispers. I've gone past things and get a download, as you call it. Go back and pick that up. That could go with that piece you're working on. I will turn around and go back and pick it up. I do
Hmm.
my walks in the morning, and sometimes my daughter joins me. And when I have those moments, she's like, "Mommy, do you really?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah.
I just go with the moment. But no, I encourage others to tap into their creative side. The name of my business is The Creative You
Hmm.
LLC. And even though people say I'm not an artist, oh, I'm not, when they tap into their self, it's there. It's just a gift from the creator. Everybody has it. Like, look
Hmm.
at your tats. Everybody has, even though one of my daughter has it. This is called a sleeve, mommy.
No, yeah, it's funny because this is my grandfather was an art professor, and so this is his work that I have tatted on me. And I can't draw for anything, but I used to spend all my time as a little kid in his studio with him, watching him draw, and he did stained glass and carvings and all that stuff.
What
So,
an honor. My grandfather is who I first get those seeds planted. He didn't have a studio. Sometimes it was like in the dining room or the living room, or in the
This was our
basement.
garage. I'll say his studio was our garage, but yeah.
Okay, you can identify. And with Papa, he would give me little tasks, whether he used it or not. But he would give me a task, like maybe with a certain paintbrush, a certain flow of the brush, a stroke. He would show me, and then he'd say, "All right, really, as a grown up, as an educator, as a mom, he was keeping me busy while he was doing what he was doing. But I was learning, knowing how to do. Oh, let me copy Pop Pop's brush strokes. He said I need to do 25 of them. So I learned a lot of things, and I didn't realize that I was even like really into art. It was play for me. I hope I'm not getting off on topic because I'm
No.
there, but it was play for me. And my dad is the one who saw a pattern of creativity. Let me tell you something, Tenor. When I was little, I used to make some fly clothes for my Barbie dolls out of
I believe it.
socks, buttons, you know what I mean? And I didn't realize, even though I do collaging now, but I was in collaging then. My grandmother would save the Christmas cards. Don't ask me why. Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. She would take them and you reuse them, and all around the borders, around everywhere in the house, there was a doorway. You saw all of the collection of the Christmas cards. So that's why she saved them. But there were times, because seriously, she had so many of them, that I would create my own personalized Christmas cards. I did my own writing, but the pictures that were on the cards, I would reassemble them on my thing. So I've always been into art. I just didn't know that, I came away from it. Again, how I was brought up with my mom, she didn't see it as a gift. She didn't see it as something to nurture. Whereas my parents were separated. So whereas my dad did, when I got into Philadelphia College of Art, which then evolved to University of Arts, which now has shut down, I think, last year. But my father went to the initial interview. I wasn't with him. He got all the particulars. Daddy came home, put the paper here. I really want you to do this. And I started working on the prompts, the guidelines of what they wanted for this submission. And I got in. I was that shifted a lot for me. I felt so free, and in growing up more, again with my mom, you need to leave that crap alone. Go get that 9 to 5, blah, 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 blah. And I let it go. We dibble and dabble in it on the side, but I let it go. And it's when I went through that cancer ordeal, a part of my healing, even though I would do it on and off, I took a deep dive more into the visual arts. But as far as storytelling, being a griot, a jolly, I've been doing that for some time, ever since I lived in Philadelphia, as far as to pay my bills.
And that's where I'm now. Shout out to Philadelphia.
Are you?
Yeah, I was about to ask you if you've ever been up here and been to the garden with all the, what's it called? The Magic Garden, with all the...
I'm having moments right now. There are too many, I don't like to call them coincidentals.
Synchronicities. Yeah, even you talk about your story and your mother, same thing. My mom was a lawyer. She had me at 17, so I was with her in college and law school and all that. And she definitely was like, I want to go to film school. And she was like, that's not a real job. And I never thought of myself as an artist. I can't draw. My grandfather was like an art professor. So I looked at that as like, oh, if you can't be on that level, then don't bother.
Right.
And then now at this age, I, with the cancer with my wife, I quit my nonprofit job. I've been doing that most of my life, like nonprofit work and political organizing. And I was like, I'm just going to go for it and start, DJing is what I did for fun. And I'm starting to do it for more than fun, and starting this podcast and bringing other creators together and calling myself a creator, even though I used to work as a writer and did all these creative things my whole life, owning that title.
Yeah.
And it came really through the journey of watching my wife go through cancer, seeing her struggles. My wife was a professor, English professor.
Okay.
And she struggled to call herself a writer. And I was like, well, damn, like if you know what I mean, like if you have imposter syndrome, then what? Like, I think
Let
it's
me tell you
it's
something. I
just a
did a
thing.
performance last Friday. My friend Alana DaCosta is an awesome singer, curator. Her show was Secret Asylum, Madhouse, or
Mm.
Sanctuary. And I submitted artwork. I manipulated the American flag and painted it red, black, and green and added my sentiment as a Afro-Indigenous woman in America. But I wrote this piece that dealt with mental well-being. Really, I wrote this piece out of a situation when I first came back to America and I didn't have anywhere to live, kind of homeless. Basically, I say homeless because it wasn't my own. I had a room and a house where other people lived.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible situation, such a wake up call. And I was walking with a wounded soul. So this piece I wrote for that. And it had been over 15 years, Tenor, since I've actually performed live because that's what I used to do as a storyteller. Girl, let me tell you something. The reception, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I am just want to encourage others to go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reception that I received from the audience, people that were there that I know for a long time. I even saw students there. Oh my God, talking about telling on my age that are now grown ups that are into the arts. And I felt so hugged, like literally people were hugging me. I felt so hugged to my spirit that I said, I didn't say, spirit whispered to me, you know you need to start doing this again. You was making good money doing this. I don't know why you put this on the back burner.
Love that.
Now I'm back going to start nurturing that and doing that because I'm trying to escape the classroom, Tenor,
I feel you.
just because of the every 2 weeks, that consistency. But I tell myself, if I'm such a good worker for other places that I've worked for, Tenor, wouldn't I be a good worker for myself?
That's how I ended up here. I think I think it's a sign for us all. Yeah.
So I really believe, even though technically I'm to start back work July 31st, this is going to be my last year. I'm using it to save money, rationalizing it, but no, I'm using it to save money and to get things that I need, invest in things that I need so that when I'm not working, I have things that I can use to bring in money. Because seriously, my mom didn't understand it. My father got it, even though daddy was like, because I started having children, about the job thing. But as a creative, that's always been the first priority for me. And I always would work part time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working full time now. And I have moments, and especially for how I lived when I lived in Jamaica. I wasn't in AC. They pumped. Okay, that's a whole nother episode. But all of them little subtleties contribute to my burnout. I find myself settling, sacrificing my personal sovereignty. Like I literally layer clothes so that I don't freeze inside this building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to being in Jamaica. I'm used to getting that sun juice dripping
And
on
vitamin
me,
D.
that vitamin E,
Mm.
it's just a different thing. Okay, okay. Go ahead to the next question because I start feeling the little burnout symptoms. It's like dun 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 dun,
No,
dun. And I gotta
I
just
feel you.
breathe.
I feel you. I think you're on the right track. It seems like no matter what you do, your art and your healing and your spirit, it shines through. So I would believe that for you. If you say this is your last year, I think it's your last year. I really believe you can make anything. You're already doing it, so it's like you just have to take that leap of faith and just boom,
And just do it.
you're there. Yeah,
And
exactly.
when you say that leap of faith, I remember when all my family, my mom and my father, thought I was crazy when I shared with them that I'm moving to Jamaica. They
Mm-hmm.
literally thought I was joking because it's a place that I traveled every year, several times throughout the year. And when I graduated with my doctorate, and I waited another year for my daughter to graduate with her bachelor's.
I love that.
But all the while I was preparing myself. And yes, I did pack up my place, got that container, a train container, and packed up my stuff. And we went. And I too went on a leap of faith. Okay. I needed to feel a new zest for life. You know, I was coming out of the cancer situation because when I was in school getting my doctorate, I was growing through cancer. You know, some days I was sick as a dog, if a dog could be that sick.
That's another episode, Black women in academia and cancer pipeline. So that's a very real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I had started writing, but I didn't complete it yet. Dissertation Chronicles of a Black Girl. Gurl. I purposely misspelled it. But yeah, that's a whole nother focus.
No, it's real.
Yeah.
It's definitely real. But you made it through the other side. And I like if you can beat cancer and you can beat grad school and getting a PhD as a Black woman, that's a people don't realize that in and of itself, the type of things you have to come up against just in that world in and of itself is wild.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, I feel like you could pretty much do anything you want in this life. Like those are two of the hardest things that you could pretty much do. So you've already done those things.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's beautiful. It's beautiful to hear your story and all the things that you've done and will continue to do. And the youth that you impact. I know you're trying to get out of those schools, but the babies, I'm sure, need you and appreciate you. And I'm sure you're impacting their lives in beautiful ways. And it's 11:11 on the clock right now, which feels auspicious.
Oh, divine.
So we'll close it here. Is there anything else that you want to say or anything else that you want to plug that you have coming up?
No, just my show in September 28th, 2025 at Island Space Caribbean Museum in Broward County, Florida from 2 to 6 p.m. Other than that, I post my things on Eventbrite. If you are ever in Florida, you know, check me out. Come to the workshops. So wait, let me ask you, do you live in Philly now or you just there?
Live in Philly, Germantown.
Tenor. That's me planting a seed. Okay. Yeah. I have all my family's in Philly. Tenor. That's me planting a seed. And I don't know if I should do this. You might have to cut this after if you do your little editing.
Yeah.
Girl, I need to come to Philly. Is there any way we can collaborate?
Yeah, for sure.
Spoken word, yoga, art. Tenor, I haven't been to Philly. And I lived in Jamaica for 10 years. Prior to that, I lived in Florida for 21 years. It's been a little minute. And if I would love to come back like, ta-da!
Come up. Anytime. I'm up here.
I'm going to keep in touch with you.
Yeah, the whole point of this is to build community and to do things like that. So whatever you want to do, we can definitely collab. There's a ton that we have in common already. The end goal is to try to build like a community center up here. My wife has like 1,000 books that I now have, so I want to create like a library memorial for her.
Hey, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, you know, she was a lit professor, so it's a very curated, amazing collection of books that she has. A lot of like Black work. So yeah, there's a lot to collab on.
For the logistics about that, because I would entertain that.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime.
Okay.
And yeah, as soon as you were talking about like picking up things, I was like, oh, I wonder if you've ever been to Philly to that garden with all the
I don't know about the
mosaics.
I don't know about the garden. The last I was there, unfortunately, was for a funeral, and I know we have to go. But I remember driving through the neighborhood because my people live in West Philly. Okay. I used to live in North Philly, South Philly, West Philly. But what I last remember were the beautiful murals.
Yeah.
In the heart of the neighborhood. And I just was mesmerized about that. The last, I used to be a member of the National Association of Black Storytellers. And I'm one of the founding members of Keepers of the Cultures, which is a storytelling organization. But I'm not familiar with the garden. What is that?
It's a there's this artist that lived in Philadelphia, him and his wife, and he would just collect glass and random pottery, I guess, from Philly and all over the world. And he created this like huge mosaic garden that you can now go in. It's like a museum in South Street, like at the end of South Street. But you'll see like he has mosaic murals up around the city too. So like I'm sure you've driven past them and seen like a wall where it's just like all like glass and ceramics and stuff like that. He makes murals with them. But there's an actual like garden that you can it's like, $10 to pay to go in.
When I
Um
come, I
it's really cool.
here's a planting a seed again. When I
Yeah,
come, I want to go there. Okay,
100%.
and yeah, I want to get a bean pie. That's a shame.
Hey, that's right around the corner. The right around the
That's
corner.
a shame. Okay, this has been so enjoyable.
Yeah.
It made my day. Just the divine connection, that synergy, and I thank you so much, and for thinking of me for this. And I wish
Yeah,
you
thank you.
abundance of success. And until we meet again,
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for signing up to be a part of this. Thank you for all the work that you've done and will continue to do. I could feel your light from here, and it radiates. And I'm sure that everybody that comes in contact with you benefits from that. So thank you
thank
for
you.
that. Yeah, and we'll definitely be in touch, and there'll be definite more collaborations in the future.
Awesome. I love that. You have a beautiful day, Tenor. Sending you a big hug, healing
Okay.
hugs of condolences, and all of that
Thank
good
you.
stuff. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
All
You too.
right. All right.
All right.
Peace.
Be blessed.
Beats and violence, we move with grace, healing in rhythm. At our own pace, our vibes stay sacred, our roots run deep.